Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott, and I'm here today to talk to you about the new Pamu Scroll. This is the Bluetooth 5.0 truly wireless earphones. I'm here to tell you today why, at least for the moment, these are the favorite pair of headphones that I own, and I own a lot of them. For the kind of stuff that I often use headphones for, truly wireless headphones really kind of fit the bill. I've been trying a lot of them, testing different ones, doing reviews of them, and I've used them extensively because of the nature of what I do. A lot of times if I'm out doing manual work, for example, or exercising, having something that's truly wireless that fits, easily into my ear and securely there is really quite useful because it allows me to not ever get tangled in wires moving around, and it's just very functional for what I'm trying to accomplish. And so I really do like them, but there are some serious drawbacks to truly wireless headphones. I find that the further you get away from, you can start with a big over-the-ear studio monitor, fantastic image quality, but obviously bulky, not convenient, all of those things. And so you move towards an earbud, which I always like, wired earbud. You can get good quality, sound quality, maybe sometimes not as good as the studio monitor over the ear, but, and then you move towards the Bluetooth. And then, of course, when we started to go to the truly wireless ones, the image or the sound quality took even a further hit at that point. And so finally, however, some of these manufacturers are really starting to get things together. So let's jump in and let's take a look at why the Scroll is a pretty fantastic approach to this concept of both truly wireless headphones and then also the idea of having a charge case like this. Let's jump in. First thing to note about the Scroll is the actual case that it comes in. As you can see, it's quite stylish. It's actually made of leather, as you can see, with a metal accent that has a magnetic clasp there, and so it stays nice and closed. On the note of this, there are actually 4 different styles when it comes to this. This is called the Glory Edition here, and so it's got this kind of metal accent piece, which they all do in some kind of complementary color. The cool thing about this is if I have it sitting around like this, per se, my wife really gets after me if there's any kind of clutter in our house. If this is sitting on the end table, for example, by like some candles, she doesn't even notice it because it actually looks stylish enough that it actually looks like a decoration to some extent, and a stylish accent piece there. Now on the other side you do have a micro USB charge port for that, and that's to charge the actual charge case itself. Now one thing that I do want to highlight that I actually really like about this in comparison to some others, you'll see that when I first put the headphones in, there are 4 different blue status lights that light up. Those actually indicate the charge level, and so if you're actually in the middle of charging the case, that's what lets you know how close you are to completion of charge. But when you put the headphones back in to charge themselves, it will show these status, and so if all 4 of them show, you're somewhere near 100%. If 3 of them show 75%, so on and so forth. And so I do like the fact that it gives you a visual indicator of where your actual charge status on the case, which can come in handy. Now, as you can see, the actual headphones themselves are very nice and compact. It's labeled in here left and right to let you know which side to charge them on. But themselves, they're now very nice and compact, as you can see. The weight is now down to only 5 grams a piece, which is really quite fantastic. I mean, you could put these in your ears and wear them for hours and not really even note the weight of them at all. I found them to be comfortable in that regard, and the fact that they are so lightweight, it also makes them easier to kind of stay secure in your weight or in your ear because there's not a whole lot of weight that's pulling them down. And so definitely a plus there. I mean, and there's plenty of alternative headphones that I have used that are, these truly wireless that weigh twice as much or more. The other thing is that despite being so compact as these, the playtime is actually improving, 3.5 hours now, which is really, I find, definitely a useful amount of time. For the most part, that's going to cover pretty much any session that I'm going to use it. Now, those of you that are long distance runners, you might, if you're actually running for a 4-hour period, for example, it may not be enough for you. You may need to look elsewhere. But I think for most people, under most circumstances, that will work quite well. The other thing that's handy for me is that I often will be listening to a podcast or audiobook, and I'm not even necessarily needing to have two in my ears at once. And so you can actually just use one at a time. And so let's take a look right here. So if I pull this one out, and it will actually sync up. So you can see it's connected, and by the way, connection is automatic. You don't have to turn these on and off. When you put them away, it will go into charge mode, and it will show a disconnect from Bluetooth here in a second. And then when I pull it, and it will instantly begin the connection process. And so typically by the time you've got it in your ear, it's already connected and ready to go. So, I also have the option, as you can see, I've got a secondary one there, that if I'm just using the left one independently, if this is my normal sync process, they're both synced up right now, they sync up to one another, but if I'm only using one, I also have the option of independently using the left headphone alone as well. You can see also there is a redundant microphone port on both of these, and so you can use either for taking calls, and both of them also have the redundant controls in them, which is very nice. Now, speaking of those controls, they are the standard play, pause, and all that comes with that. And so, however, in this case, they have a tap function. And so say if I tap that, you can see that it's paused the music. I tap it again, and play resumes. I can double tap and advance the track to the next one, and you also have the option of a double tap on the other that will take you to, if they're both connected, to take you to Siri or something similar to that. And so some built-in standard, and the ability to tap them, it's good. The only bad time that I will find is that while I'm in the process of adjusting in my ears, the fact that they do connect so quickly means that sometimes I will have inadvertently started play on something before I'm quite ready to listen. Not a huge deal, but anyway, just note that when it comes to that. And so anyway, they do certainly they charge quickly. These are now have IPX6 rating, and so definitely at the very least good and sweat and splash proof. And so you can use them definitely while running and exercising, and getting some water on them. These are Bluetooth 5.0. Unfortunately, none of my devices support Bluetooth 5.0, and so I can't obviously attest to any improvements when it comes to that. I can say, however, that they are backwards compatible, and so range seems to be good, signal seems to be strong, and one thing that I always check for and I'm happy about, there is no lag when it comes to any kind of video content. It is perfect in the syncing to the lips and audio to what you see on there. And so at the current price point, and then this current Indiegogo listing, you can get them for $79, which is a pretty fantastic price for how good these are. And obviously a lot of people agree. They currently have raised some $3,133,956 as of this moment in their funding, which means that they are funded some 15,379% of what they set out to raise. And so anyway, obviously quite popular. The sound quality is not quite as rich as either the best wired buds that I've used before, or even some of the better kind of necklace style, bulkier Bluetooth headphones. But it's close, and close enough that it makes it that when you couple that with the convenience and a decent playback time, it makes them just really, really easy to use. And of course, the fact that I can use just one of them, as I noted, for when I'm listening to podcasts or audiobooks, or even just to music, but I don't want to completely block out the world. I find that to be a really, really fantastic. I'm finding them very convenient to use. There's just not a lot of hassle and fuss. They sync right up. They work well. And so if you want to jump in on the Indiegogo funding and get them at the discounted price, I think they're well worth checking out and exploring a little bit further. And I'll throw the link to that campaign in the description down below. You can check here on YouTube, and I've got a full playlist of a lot of different audio reviews if you'd like to check that out. And of course, you can sign up for my newsletter. You can become a patron, and if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.